Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes, sir. How you doing today, buddy?
Chillin'. What's your name and how old are you?
Brandon, and I'm 30.
All right, Brandon, what are you here to talk about today?
Just a couple of things, bud. So, I mean, I don't want to get off and to like big arguments and stuff like that. I simply just want to debate with you here on two different points. So, the affirming care for children, and also, I mean, we could touch base on the what we consider to be a racial slur.
Well, that's
When
not
it
really
comes to being
one of the topic points. But if you want to talk about the ones that are on the board, I'm fine to talk about those.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. First one, well, let's just talk about that one, and if something else comes up and we have time, we can talk about the other ones later. But the biggest one for me is the gender affirming care for children, and I do believe that children should have the freedom to be able to express themselves and how they want to express themselves and everything. That's perfectly fine. However, I do believe that children are not capable of making those decisions at a young age, and I think it should be left at an age point to where their brain is fully developed and being able to make proper decisions, just like drinking and just like driving a car and all the other things. Because you got to think that if it's a gender affirming care for transgenderism, right? So they're changing their body permanently for the rest of their life. By changing their body the rest of their life, and they do it at a young age, and they grow up and they can't make that change later on, they regret that decision. You don't think that that's going to hinder their life in the future
I would
compared to
just
just
argue
saving their
that when
life
we're
now?
looking at, I would just say that when we're looking at the regret rate, it sits at about 3% in total for those that
Mm-hmm.
receive gender affirming medical treatment, and that I
Yep.
wouldn't punish 97% of the population because 3% of the population has a regret rate.
Okay. Either way, I think even the slightest of regret rate, because it's irreversible.
I would argue
Irreversible.
with
Because you can get
with
attached.
it being irreversible.
You can. Well, it is irreversible. If you cut off your penis, you can't grow it back. You can't attach another one.
Bottom
You can't
surgeries are
bring up a
reserved
functional
solely
one.
for via the WPATH standard. Bottom surgeries only happen on those sometimes 17 if they're medically emancipated or like the courts view that they like can make medical decisions. But the only people getting bottom surgeries are over the age of 18. There's no instances of people under the age of
Well, it's still
17 getting
upper and
bottom surgery.
everything that's affecting like the estrogen pills and stuff like that. When you're changing all of that, that's not really
that's reversible
once it goes in.
Yeah,
So
HRT treatments are reversible. Yeah, that's why. For instance, if we see
not to 100%.
well, yeah, but I would argue that the things that are irreversible about it are there's no harm being done by those non-irreversible side effects, like your voice change. There's no principal harm in like your voice being higher or lower.
Well, yeah, but that can also affect the person mentally later on. And that's the whole point of trying to get across and everything is that any type of gender affirming care should be based on a later date in their life when their brain is fully developed and they can make a fully functional decision for themselves. That is a big thing with me. And honestly, by even coming up with the idea that children can even come up to a place where they can think like this and make these decisions goes on to what I believe in is affirming pedophilia. It's a pedophilia affirming ideology.
How so?
Because it's predatory on the child. They don't have the fully functional brain to make that decision on their own.
They don't have the fully functional brain to
live
make,
out their
to
life
make
biologically.
any decision a parent makes for their child, the child typically doesn't have the ability to make that decision for themselves. Would you also call these pedophilic measures?
Not if they're based on sexual orientation. If they're based on sexual orientation,
this
yes,
is based on gender, not sexual orientation. It has nothing to do with your sex, like the sex you're attracted to. This is gender. These are two different things.
You're still changing your body in that sense. You're still changing your biological sense.
Do you believe that a parent that Do you believe that a parent that gives their teenage daughter birth control is that's pedophilic?
Yeah, I do actually. Absolutely.
How do you substantiate this?
Well, that mainly comes from my morality and my religious belief, which I don't usually try to portray on people, but that's my belief. I don't believe in birth control. I think it's wrong to hinder or harm any child being developed in the womb. But that's, again, that comes onto my belief, and I can't force it on other people and everything. But when it comes to my belief on that, absolutely.
So you're saying that it's wrong to have kids go through irreversible, life changing things, but if a kid got pregnant, you would say they should go through with that irreversible, life changing pregnancy?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that everything should go at a natural basis until they're fully developed to make that functional decision in their life. So that's going back on the idea that, so when you bring in abortion into the ideology, right? And everyone always brings up rape victims. And do I believe that it was wrong that it happened to them and everything? Absolutely. Oh my God, yes, I believe that. But I also believe that that child inside of that womb is a separate entity, is a separate life form, man. That child has as much a right to live as that person does to make a decision for their own body choice, but you don't get to affect the child's life.
But wait, you don't see the inconsistency with this. You've claimed here today. You've made the claim that it is wrong for parents to make these decisions for their kids if they are irreversible, life-altering major decisions. You've also claimed you don't agree with birth control. So if under your beliefs, a 14-year-old gets raped and gets pregnant, you think they should be forced to carry this child, even though the force of carrying that child would be, and giving birth would be, a life-changing major decision that's being forced on them, even though you're against life-changing major medical decisions being forced on kids. This is an inconsistency in the logic.
Yes. No, it's not an inconsistency. You're warping logic with something completely different there. So, yes, it is going to affect their body. It is going to affect their life in some way or another, and it sucks. That's why the pedophile gets put away in prison. Honestly, I think that they should be under capital punishment. I think they should not even exist on the earth anymore, but
this has nothing to do, though, with the fact that your belief is that they should still be forced to go through with a life-changing, body-altering medical thing. This being, in this instance, pregnancy. But if it comes to somebody who needs gender-affirming care, you don't believe that they should be allowed to go through a life-altering major medical thing. This is where the inconsistency lies.
I agree, but you're dealing with another life form at that point. You're not only dealing with your own at that point. You are dealing with a child. And that kid and everything, yes, it was wrong that it was done to them. It is wrong that they even have to bear this child in the first place. But they don't have to own the child. There are plenty of adoption agencies out there that will absolutely take them in. There are 27,000 people here just in Alaska alone that are willing to adopt right now, ready to go. They are ready to adopt. The problem is the system that's in place for adoption, they are having a hard time getting those kids. That's why it's such a hard time with the adoption agencies. But giving the kid a chance to live, comparative to that child having to go through a body change like that was forced upon them.
Yeah, can you tell me
no one else but that rapist?
Can you tell me what are the life-changing permanent altercations that happen off of HRT?
HRT?
Yeah, what are the permanent hormone replacement therapy, the thing we've been talking about?
Okay.
What are the life-changing, irreversible side effects of HRT?
Well, if there's no clinical function to be able to tell whether or not it has long affecting or long-term affecting side effects. It hasn't been around long enough to be able to determine that or not, and we just should be doing human testing to figure out whether it does or not.
You think so HRT not only has been around long enough, but we have clinically tested HRT. it has been clinically.
And how
we've
many
done
of those
clinical
people have
trials.
actually turned around and actually been affected by it so much to the point to where they take their fucking life for it?
Not
Then when
many.
they take their life for it, that is just as bad.
Yeah, my answer would be not many. This is
There
why
are
we know
tons.
there.
I know of three just down the road, just down
Yeah,
in Anchorage right
for
here,
yeah for
that killed
every
themselves because of that.
for every one person you provide me that took their life for it, I can provide you 20 that are living now
One life
because of it.
isn't worth it. One life is not worth it.
Yeah, I would argue
One
that
life.
I would. Okay, so then we shouldn't do cancer treatment then, because when it comes to cancer treatment, chemotherapy can kill you. So we should not do
Yeah.
chemotherapy because some people may have negative side effects of it. Would this be
Well,
for
that's why
every?
there's a
Would this be
waiver in
for
it and
every?
everything to be able to determine whether or
There
not
are
that can
waivers.
make the child survive.
There are
If it can
waivers
help the
in.
child and help make them survive, it
Uh-huh.
gives them an opportunity. But if you do nothing about it, the chances of them living slim down to almost nothing.
Uh-huh. There are
So
waivers in. There are
yes, of
waivers
course, as
in
long as there's a
HRT.
waiver with it to be able to help them survive. But you changing your
Yeah.
sex and everything is not a life-changing event.
That
It is
I
not
would
something.
I hold on. I would disagree that it's not a life-saving event because there are children who are at risk of suicide ideations and self-harm because of severe gender
Mhm.
dysphoria. And the only thing that has ever been shown to decrease this is gender-affirming care. It's the only thing. Nothing else has ever been shown effective in lowering the suicidality amongst this population.
Okay, and there's also people out there, or kids out there, and everything that also believe that they're a fox. You think that they should get a tail automatically just sewn into their back end and grow out fox ears and all this other stuff and everything. You think that that's okay,
Yeah,
or do you think that that's a
is a
different effect?
whataboutism personally. I think this is a whataboutism when we're looking um at the way at like people that think they're animals. No, I don't think that's a real thing. I don't think you're going to find one single person that actually believes they're an animal. Right? They may identify with some like traits that animals have, and they may like identify. Oh, I kind of feel like a connection with said animal. You're not going to meet somebody that's like actually thinks they're an animal, right? And I would just say that they can't
Well,
because they're
I
not.
mean, I have because I
Because
go to the pride
humans,
shows here in Anchorage and everything, and I see them all over the place.
I, I,
I guarantee I run into like three or
I
four of
can't
them
take
during the
your.
pride shows. I go there for the support of the pride shows. I'm not anti-gay. I'm not
I
anti-trans. They can live their life as
uh-huh.
well as they want to and however they want to. That's not what I'm saying on that end. It is their choice to live it like they want. Now, I'll be honest with you right here. I'll just open up and let my belief out to you. I'm sure you've already probably assumed what it is, but I am a Christian. But against my religion, being gay is actually against my religion, right? But doesn't mean that I'm not going to support a gay person. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to support a trans person for just being who they want to be. That's perfectly fine with them. And it's just my belief that it has a negative repercussion in my belief.
Yeah,
But
but
I'm not going to sit there and put them down for that.
you haven't been able to label me what this negative repercussion is. You haven't been able to substantiate that negative repercussion.
Well, in my belief in what the Bible states for me is that any form of I'm trying to think of the word because I don't use it enough. But what is it? Oh no, I forget the freaking word, man. I'm sorry. Basically, being gay would send you to damnation because God believes that it's an abomination on earth. And
Yeah, God believes a lot of stuff that I disagree with. So like,
yes,
I
and
don't know
that's
where
why
to.
I'm not pushing that belief on you. But that's where my morality comes from, is that I do believe that, but I'm not going to punish people for my belief. I'm not going to say, oh, that is wrong because of what I believe. I'm going to be like, no, do your thing, man. I'm going to do my thing. We keep each other at peace. And that's the great thing about capitalism, too, is that you have that as an option. It leaves out the freedom to be able to do that with people. In
But
socialism,
you
have
do
you
believe
ever
that.
noticed?
Hold on, you do
Huh?
believe that your belief should be forced upon people when it comes to
No.
gender affirming care.
Oh, that is because another child is involved with the abortion rates, and then also with the gender affirming care, it is altering their body that they're too young to make a decision for.
Yes, but
They're
again,
too young to make that
you don't
decision.
actually
When
care
they
about the
turn
body
18,
altering. We've gone through
but
this, right?
what's wrong with them turning 18 and making that decision? Why
Because
do they
what's
have to do it
gonna
when they're a kid? Why
because
can't we just leave kids alone?
yeah, because there are children with gender dysphoria, and those children who have
Hmm.
gender dysphoria are at risk for self-harm and suicide. So if we have a
So
treatment,
don't you think that we should find an alternative solution to be able to help them instead of changing their body type? Maybe
the
saying, this is something you can look forward to when you're 18. When you're 18, you can go out
what
and you
is
can
it
do these things. It will
here?
make
Hold
you
on,
who you
Let me
are.
ask you this. Let me ask you this question. What is it about gender dysphoria that causes them to want to commit self-harm?
Not being able to live in the body that they want to live in, feel comfortable in the way that they feel.
Sure, I'll take that. Do you think that going through puberty, which is going to cause their body to look more like the sex they don't align with, is going to exacerbate said gender dysphoria?
It could, depending on your genetics, absolutely.
Okay, so then you've answered your own question as to why this is kind of an important thing that some people need. And when we look at the people that are getting it, it's such a minority of a minority. We're only giving gender affirming medical treatment to about 4,000 kids a year, right? It's a
That's a
minority
lot.
of that is 4,000 kids is a lot. There's 200.
Yeah,
There's
even one
wait,
kid is a lot.
how many
Yes.
kids are in the country? Like over 50 million?
50 billion.
Million.
There's not even that many people in the world.
Million. I said
Oh,
million.
million. Yeah, I'd say so. But 4,000 is still a lot. It doesn't matter how much of a big number is inside of the world. It's still a big number of people that are getting this operation and everything. But then there's also
There's
people.
no hold on.
Hence
Again,
why,
there's nobody getting the operation. No one gets bottom surgery until they're 18. That's not a thing that happens.
well, they're still affecting their hormones and everything.
Yes,
They're still
but
affecting their bodies. They're still blocking puberty.
You can't list me the negative. I asked you to tell me what the negative long-term side effects of pubertal suppressants and HRT are, and you haven't been able to do that.
So what are the long-term effects of it? Okay.
The negative. I'm asking what the
I'd be
long-term
guessing
negative effects.
I would be guessing on this because I haven't looked that much into that side of it. But in what I believe is the negative effects of it is that when they grow up and they get older, they change their mind and like, oh, this actually wasn't for me. They have to go through the whole process again. And then they have to deal with it and trying to get off of this stuff. It
Except
affects
that
their
doesn't happen.
livelihood in the future, whether or not it does it permanently within their body and everything, right? It still affects them mentally. You're talking about the brain at this point.
Yeah, your claim now is that because of people regretting it and having to come off of it, that's the harm. Except regretting it and coming off of it is not inherently a harm because you're able to come off of it. I asked you for the negative long-term side effects. In giving those long-term side effects, you said, well, they may want to go off of it. That's not a long-term side effect. Them going off of it is not a long-term side effect.
It's a mental negative effect.
Yeah,
you don't think that when they grow up and everything.
Why do you only care about the
the
negative mental effect of those of people that detransition and not the negative mental effect of people that are not able to transition at all?
Because
Why
they're
don't you
not
care
of the
about that
age and
negative
everything.
mental
There are
effect?
other ways that we can support them until they are of age.
So like
There are
what?
other ways we
Like
can
what?
support them.
Like what? What are these other ways?
Giving them therapy and showing them
Therapy
that
is the
they
number
have a
one
chance later
therapy.
in the future.
Okay, so see, this is my issue with a lot of people who are opposed to gender affirming care. They don't know how it works. Therapy is the number one thing you do in all of these instances of kids getting gender affirming care. They have been to therapy. They are continuing to. Therapy is literally step one in the process.
Okay, so is it taught in therapy to basically wait until they're 18 to do any of this stuff?
No.
Or is it said, oh,
why would it be taught in therapy? Why would that be taught in therapy?
This is how you really feel. We should probably move along with this just to see how you can, how
No,
you know,
that's
you
not how
develop
that's not how it works. Therapists don't say, hey, we should get you gender affirming care. This is why, of the 40,000 kids that are diagnosed with gender dysphoria, only about 4,000 get gender affirming medical treatment, because therapists aren't saying you have it, let's get you into treatment. They're saying you have it. If you're not severe enough, we're going to wait and do social affirming methods.
Yeah, I understand that. And I know there's a process that goes along with that. But I'm not saying affect their ideology and everything, like trying to work them into something else. I'm not saying that these therapists and everything should say, oh, no, being straight is better. Go to the straight side. We're trying to confirm you over to this side. No, absolutely not.
Who's talking about people
It's
being
not
straight?
also confirming and saying that, no, oh, you believe this. Okay. Well, then this is what we're going to reference you as and everything. From now on, we're going to treat you like this. We're going to put you through all this social stuff as it's a freaking experiment because every child is different.
Again,
You're experimenting on the
it's
child.
not an experiment, right? That would just be a
It is.
gross mischaracterization of what's going on to call it an experiment. It is
It
is
is.
clinically
It's
tested.
because we don't know enough about it.
You keep saying this, but when I ask you what the negatives are, you say, well, there might be mental health negatives. Okay, if
No,
you
not
think
might be. There will be.
there might be. This will be would say that every child that goes through gender affirming care has negative mental effects, even though all the studies show that only 3% of them regret their decision, and the overwhelming amount of them drop in terms of their suicidality and their comorbidities for mental health problems. Right? This would be what the overwhelming evidence says. But you keep saying there is negatives, and this negative would be a negative mental health benefit. What if I just say, well, they can just go through therapy? Like you're saying so how about instead of forcing 97% of the population to just go through therapy, we force 3% of the population to just go through therapy, thus mitigating harm. That's harm reduction. Instead of saying
well, let me
97% should
out here
suffer
for
for
you
the
then.
3%.
So let's say a person says that, oh, I want to be able to drink at a younger age and everything. Do you think that us as adults should be able to go in there and be like, oh, it's not a life-altering decision at this point? I mean, it could be one day in the future. We don't know 100%. But one day it could be. But we'll go ahead and let you drink and everything because this is what you identify as an alcoholic. That's what you want to do. Would you support that?
That is quite literally such a misrepresentation
Don't
of the
say it's
argument. I don't
different
even
because
know.
it's not.
It
It's the same
100%
ideology.
is. You don't identify as an alcoholic. What are you talking about? Alcoholism is like a disease. You don't identify with a disease. You have a disease.
But
What are you
there are kids out
about?
there that want to go out and drink. They want to do all these things.
What I would say,
when they get older in their life, they regret the decision of even picking up that first drink.
I'm literally going to answer you. What I would say is the reason we don't allow children to drink is because drinking before the neurons in your brain have fully developed causes those neurons to die prior to the preening of them in your brain. So because those neurons die, this is the negative. Your neurons don't die with HRT. You're not killing neurons by going on hormone replacement therapy. Whoop-de-doo. Where's the harm? Hormones being affected is not in and of itself harm. You have to show the harm.
My point is that with this ideology, it's going into our schools right now. And inside of that school, I just had one of my son's teachers do this same exact crap. And when they did this to him, he came home and started questioning everything about his life and all this stuff, which is cool. Yeah, whatever. You could do that. When I talked to him, he's like, oh, no, actually, I don't really believe it. The teacher was telling me that, people think like this and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, well, do you actually believe that you're gay? Do you believe that you're straight? What's the deal, bud? You got to tell me because I'm not going to tell you what you should be. He comes up to me, he's like, no, I like girls. But I just don't get it why they're teaching this stuff in school. And
didn't say
because
this.
he felt obviously disturbed about it. He did not feel comfortable with his teacher. So
I don't believe this happened. I'm going to be honest with you.
Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah,
I have 4 kids right now. I have my oldest son just went through it, and he's not even in freaking middle school yet.
Yeah, I don't believe that your kid went. I don't know why they're teaching this stuff in school. Yeah, I don't believe that.
It's because the ideology is accepting it in the first place is being put on it and being pressed into the school system.
Yeah,
You
so
don't
hold
see
on.
it
So we
because
get
you
to the
don't have
crux.
kids to deal
We
with
get
it.
to the crux of your issue. Your issue is not that you think they should wait. Your issue is you disagree with trans people to begin with. That's the
No,
crux of the
I don't
actual.
disagree with trans people to begin with. I disagree with it being affected on our kids.
Yes, you do,
Kids should
because
be
you
left
don't
to
want.
be kids and not having to
Should
think about
kids
sex affirming anything until
wait?
they're old enough to be able to think about it.
Do some kids have trans parents?
Yeah.
Do some kids have trans teachers?
Hmm.
Do some kids
Yep.
see trans people out in the wild?
Yeah.
So why should we not tell them what these things that they see are going to see and what some of their classmates may be seeing every day? Why not tell kids that these are things that exist? What's the issue with telling children trans people
My kid
exist?
knows they exist. My kid knows this stuff.
Do you think your kid is the
He,
only kid in the class? So we should cater all
no.
school to what your kid knows? Some kids don't,
But it's
correct?
up to the
Some
parents. You leave it up to the parents to be able to teach their kids what they want to be able to be taught
are
like that.
some
They're
parents
there for the
are some
educational and
parents
mathematics and history and social economics and stuff like that.
Wait,
That's what they're there to do. They're not there.
we have an entire class in school called social
Hmm.
studies where we study
Yeah.
society and how social groups interact with each other.
Yeah.
Are trans people not a part of society that interacts with each other?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so why can't we inform them during social studies when they're learning about society that there are these type of people in society? We teach them about other people in society. Do you think we also shouldn't be teaching
It's
race in
okay
school?
with it, besides the fact that the teacher had explained all these operations and everything, what they could do and everything. It's putting things in my kid's head that are not appropriate.
That a teacher taught your kids about sex change operations, your middle school kid. I don't believe that happened.
Well, you can believe what you want to believe. I'm telling you, it's true. I've already been in the board meetings and everything and fought with the teacher program for this stuff. So you believe what you want, but it is true. So
yeah, I'm going to believe
I'm
what
out
I
there.
want.
I'm out there
don't
actually
believe
fighting
this.
it with the school system as we speak. So I don't believe it should be taught in schools and everything when it comes to anything sexual. I think that the kids should be left alone with that
Well,
stuff
good thing
and
this
be
isn't
focused
anything
on that
sexual, right?
on it
That's a good.
elsewhere. But the
That's a
parents
good
should
thing.
be able to determine what they talk about with talk about with their sexual lives with their kids, to help them and guide them. It's not up to the teachers. I see that as pedophilic activity. I absolutely do not agree with it.
Oh man, the call.
I
This is so
refuse anybody
ridiculous.
talking anything sexual with my kids. Anything.
What? Wait. How is talking about gender in any way them talking about sex? You're conflating these two things.
No, you're not. No, I'm not. For the last 4,000 something years, it has been the same thing, and then all of a sudden, 10, 15 years ago, it changes.
You're upset that we changed science as science evolved?
It's not science evolved and everything. It's always been noticed as the same. It's
No,
always been
gender-
noticed and reflected as the
No,
same.
gender and sex have not always been reflected as the same. That's completely not true. Gender's original
It's a made-up
etymology.
terminology to put your point and make
All
it
terminology is made up. All terminology. You can't name me one word that's not made up. You can't.
I didn't say
Everything is made up. So when you say it's a made up
you
terminology,
made up
that's
a term
ridiculous.
to make it seem as if it's something completely different.
What term did we make? What term did we make up?
How about by or they or all these other
You're mad at the word
pronouns
they,
that
which has
people
existed. They as a singular pronoun has existed since the 1500s. Take it up with the 1500s. Take it up with them. Take it up with them. I don't know what you want me to say. You think we made up they as a singular pronoun recently? You think that's a recent construction?
It referred to multiples of peoples.
No, they as a singular pronoun has existed since the 1500s.
Not America hasn't.
You want to bet? Well, America didn't exist in the 1500s, so it makes sense that it didn't exist in America.
Right.
America wasn't around, but in 1776, I guarantee you they were using they as a singular.
I don't see any proof on that. And I never
want to
heard
bet
of
here?
it even
You want to bet?
slightly
Hold
growing up
on.
or anybody talking about it.
Hold on. I bet you. I bet you $500 they use they as a singular pronoun.
Whatever. It is what it is. Whatever.
Do you not want to take the bet?
I don't bet. I'm not a gambling man.
Okay. Well, they has
But
been
if
used
you
as a
prove me
singular
wrong, you prove me
pronoun.
wrong. It is what it is. I'll accept if I'm wrong on something. That's the difference between you and I. If I tell you on something that you're wrong in, you'd sit there and you complain and complain, and you try to prove fact on me, and you're saying that whatever I'm saying is wrong. It doesn't
Because you
matter what I
haven't
say to you.
provided any evidence. You just keep saying, I feel, I feel, I feel. That's not
I feel
evidence
that
of
you're a
anything.
pedophile for affirming care like that for children. Yes,
Pray,
absolutely.
I don't
think
care
you're a
about your
pedophile.
fifis. I could care less about what your fifis are telling you, right? That means nothing to me.
I hate the day to see that you get arrested and everything. You go to prison, because I guarantee you, this prison inmates will not think twice.
You're just now waffling because you can't substantiate any of your claims with any physical evidence. You have no empirical data. You have no evidence. So you're just running your mouth now. How about instead you provide some sort of actual evidence, some sort of actual backing for anything you say?
All right, I will go get the death
love it.
certificates of my 3 friends that killed themselves.
Whoop-de-doo, and I'll go get 20 people that didn't kill themselves because they had gender affirming care. Let's go. You want to go toe to toe? I guarantee you, I know more people that are alive right now because they were able to receive gender affirming care than you know dead from it. I guarantee you. I bet I would put as much money as I possess in the world on it. Whoopee that you know some people that like had a negative experience. Guess what? People regret knee surgery. Does that mean we stop doing knee surgery? No. People regret medical decisions. This is just the truth, that people regret medical decisions. It happens.
I'm
but
talking about they regretted it when they were children. They wanted to do it.
I'll pull
did
you
it
20
when they
people.
got older. They regretted it.
I'll pull
Not,
you 20.
I'm talking about the 18-year-old that did it and above. That
I'm not talking about the 18-year-old or above. I'll pull you 20 people that received gender affirming care when they were children and don't regret that choice. I'll pull them up to you right now if you want. Like, what is this? What is this nonsense? Like, we're going to, like, again, if you want to bring anecdotal evidence to a conversation, fine. But anecdotal evidence does not dictate the rules we set for everybody. This is why studies and tests and all these other things are done, because your anecdotal evidence doesn't mean anything. It's just an anecdote. That's it. Provide actual, if it's harmful and if it's if it's such an epidemic of people killing themselves from going on gender affirming care, right, at an early age, wouldn't you think we would have mountains with the amount of people in organizations in this country that are against gender affirming care for minors? Where are these studies? Why don't they exist? Why have they not published them?
I don't know how else to explain it to you and what my belief is on this system, because I believe that it is wrong. I think it is predatory. I think that you are imposing something on a child's life and affirming that instead of engaging in a conversation with the child instead, and allowing that child to grow developmentally stronger in the future and making that decision for themselves when they get older. You are affirming the care and everything and saying that the kid all believes like this, and you should be a girl. Okay, well, let's change you into a girl and everything. At least try to do whatever we can to make that happen.
I just want to point out that I asked you for empirical evidence and you're back to telling me that I feel. I don't care about I feel statements. I really don't. I feel statements mean nothing to me right now. I want to see empirical proof. You said that there is where's the empirical proof, right? You want to talk about I feel statements. Great. I love that. Right. But I can provide you empirical evidence to show that even in children, gender affirming care has positive mental health results, right? I'm not just going to say I feel like it does because I feel like it does. I can provide you actual mental health outcome studies. We have mental health of transgender children who are supported in their identities. That's one study. We have early access to testosterone therapy in transgender, gender diverse adults seeking masculinization. That's a study. We have short-term outcomes of pubertal suppression in selected cohort of 12 to 15-year-old young people with persistent gender dysphoria in the UK. There's another study. We have actual data to show the positives. And because you've seen a couple negatives, you've said, well, screw all the positive good it can do. I don't want kids to kill themselves, except for the trans kids. They can kill themselves. Because I don't want to give them access to gender dysphoria. So when they start killing themselves because they don't have access to the only thing any medical body has ever found to lower the amount of suicidality, fuck it, right? What do you say to a parent whose kid is depressed and suicidal who needs gender affirming care? What do you say to that parent? Sucks to suck, make them wait till they're 18?
Find an alternative to help support them in a supportive attitude
What's
and
the
a supportive
alternative?
environment, and be there for that kid.
What is the
Help them,
alternative?
guide them along.
What is the
It's
alternative?
called being a parent. You're supposed to be there for your kid.
What
If you don't
is
know what's
the
going on in their life
alternative?
and they end up committing suicide because they believe that transgenderism is going to change their life in someone's perspective, it's going to stop them from committing suicide, that's something the parents doing wrong.
What
Parents not
is
noticing it.
the
They're not coming in and helping that
alternative?
kid.
You keep saying find an alternative. What is it? You said therapy earlier. Therapy is the first thing given when you're going through gender affirming care. And then
Support.
therapy is consistent.
That is what I'm talking about.
You know what? I'm
them.
gonna go to every person sitting in the suicide ward of my local hospital and be like, guys, you just need support. That's it. You just need support, guys. It's not like there could be something going on with your brain. It's not that the chemicals in your brain may be malfunctioning. You just need support. I know you stepped out in front of a bus, but with support, you might not have stepped out in front of said bus. Do you see how this is kind of silly?
You're mixing it up completely. It's not what I said. Support in stating that you can help guide them along and you can help be there for them. People who are abandoned are usually the ones that commit suicide. Usually.
Except
it's abandonment issues that are the problem.
We also
parents
have
aren't
studies.
taking care of their kids the way they need to.
What's hilarious is we have studies on why trans people end up committing suicide. We have studies that analyze the why of these things, looking at suicide notes, talking to people that attempted suicide, and people with high levels of suicidality. Do you know what the common cause of the trans people that commit suicide or attempt to commit suicide? Do you know what the common cause is?
I would say, I'm be guessing, but I would say that usually is bullying or not enough help around them to help support them.
It is being rejected by friends or family for their gender identity. It is lack of support when it comes to the affirmation of said gender identity. It is the treatment from society based around that gender identity. These are the common reasons stated.
So what you just said right here is exactly what I said then.
No, it's not. Supporting
you
someone in
just said
their
lack
gender,
of support.
Lack of support in the affirmation of their identity. Not what you said, which is don't affirm their identity and just offer them support so that they can try to see the error of their ways, which is what you're
You can
proposing.
still treat them as a human being and everything, and they identify as a girl. Okay, well, all right. If you want to be a girl, that's fine. You do what you want to do. That's fine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't do anything medically to them that can affect them.
Except you're not telling me what the effects it has on them is. You're saying it could possibly affect them mentally. So because it could possibly affect them mentally, we should do nothing.
No, I said that we should support them.
How?
Have a local group inside of the city or inside of the town or wherever they might be, a support group that helps guide them along and understanding that this is something they could look forward to in the future because they need to make an accurate decision on what they want to be when they grow up. It's the same thing with a career. You don't tell them, you feel like you want to be a YouTuber. Okay. You support them, right? You don't see anybody defending people, I can't become a YouTuber and everything, so I'm going to kill myself. So you think that we should cater to that, or you think that we should support it? It's the same freaking ideology.
You're comparing
you have people that support for these people that are having these issues. It's the same thing with military members.
You're comparing a career with an inherent sense of your identity. That's the comparison you're drawing right now.
It is your identity in the sense of your
Careers are
career.
not your
That's how most
identity.
people think nowadays.
Your careers are not your identity. A career is not an inherent sense of
Most
self.
people do.
I wasn't
What's one of
born.
the first
I
questions that
wasn't
come out?
born going, God, I feel like a teacher. I wasn't born and go, damn, I have this inherent sense of self that I'm a construction worker. Let me tell you about my astronaut self.
Yeah, kids do that all the time. Absolutely, they do.
No,
That
they
just
don't.
proves
They
to me that
play
you don't have
pretend.
kids.
There's a difference between playing pretend and having an innate sense of your own identity. Quite literally, there's a difference between these two things.
How about
And
instead of a sexual
anyone who
orientation
can't
or a gender
recognize-
orientation,
I just
everything, how about
gotta
you
say
just
this.
identify as who you are?
What the fuck does that mean? Being a man is part of who I am. Is it not a part of who you are?
I don't know if you were to assume so.
I'm asking you the question. Is being a man not a part of who you are?
I'd say if you were to assume so by going into your ideology.
I'm
You're
asking
assuming
you a
that people
direct
think like
question. You can answer that question however you want, but is being a man not a part of who you, the person I'm talking to right now, is being a man not a part of who you are?
No, I don't think about it too much. I just
didn't-
know that I like women and I am a man, and that's
So
it.
then being
Whatever.
a man
Okay.
is a part of who you are because you have this innate understanding that you are a man. It does factor into how you live in life, how you operate in life. Being a man is a part of who you are. Thank you for like
Not really. It doesn't really affect me any. It doesn't affect me any, and I'm being truthful with you. It doesn't affect me at all. A person doesn't come up to me and say, "Hey, what do you identify as?" I look at him one time and I'd be like, "I don't care."
I didn't ask what you identify as. I asked if being a man plays a part in your life. That's what I asked.
No, it doesn't. It's being a father does. Absolutely, being a father does. And that is a form of a man. But
Oh, so being a
nowadays they're
man-
trying to walk
oh,
the
okay,
ideology that
so-
father is a different
So
meaning.
you went along about route just to say, oh yes, being a man does affect me in my life. I don't know why
But you just assume that a father is a man now because then you're affirming these
No, I
transgender
didn't
ideologies
assume
being
shit.
wrong.
I didn't assume shit. You said that you're a father because you're a man, which is valid. That
No,
you're
I did not
being a
say
man,
that. I said I am a
you're-
father, and that is what I identify as because I am a father to my children.
You quite
My
literally
children see me as
you
a
said,
father, and
and
yes, I am very
quote,
proud of
you
that.
said, and I quote, being a father is a form of being a man. Did you not?
I did not. Actually,
wanna
I did
bet?
not at all.
You want to bet me $20? I have the playback.
Dude, all right, get away from the gambling ideology because I don't do that shit. But
You wanna
yes,
bet me?
okay, prove me wrong.
Sure, give me 2 seconds to pull the clip. I don't know why people always test me on this shit. No, it's not. Supporting
you just
someone
said
in
the
their
lack of
gender. Let's raise the volume.
Support
Lack of support in the output. You're comparing
all the time.
you the question. Is being a man not a part of who you are? Let's listen.
I'd say if you were to assume so by going into your ideology,
I'm
you're
asking
assuming
you a
that people
direct
think like
question. You can answer that question however you want. But is being a man not a part of who you, the person I'm talking to right now, is being a man not a part of who you are?
that. No, I don't think about it too much. I just
didn't-
know that I like women and I am a man, and that's
So
it.
then
and
being
whatever.
a man
Okay.
is a part of who you are because you have this innate understanding that you are a man. It does factor into how you live in life, how you operate in life. Being a man is a part of who you are. Thank you for like
Not really. It doesn't really affect me any. It doesn't affect me any, and I'm being truthful with you. It doesn't affect me at all. A person doesn't come up to me and say, "Hey, what do you identify as?" I look at him one time and I'd be like, "I don't care."
I didn't ask what you identify as. I asked if being a man plays a part in your life. That's what I asked.
No, it doesn't. It's being a father does. Absolutely, being a father does. And that is a form of a man.
Thanks.
No. All right. You prove me wrong. Okay, I can own up to that.
Wonderful. How many times do I have to just like come on? I hung up, bro.